This one is one that you guys have linked to me a lot. I'm wondering how he's going to do this. This is Obsidian Ant Star Citizen is Beautifully Broken, patch 3.17 PTU. Just a caveat here. It's Wave 1 PTU. It's incredibly unstable. I don't think pointing out Star Citizen's problems, especially stability problems, in a Wave 1 PTU is super logical. So I haven't seen I haven't seen the video yet, but I'm curious where he's going to go with this.
The build is quite unstable and suffers from a variety of performance-related issues. While at CIG, that is certainly an understatement. The past few days then have been filled with login issues, serviceability problems, ships not arriving to their delivery points, elevators not working, and of course server disconnects. Now, before you reach for your keyboard and type up a comment, Obsidian, this is a test server. Yes, I'm fully aware of that, and this video is not a complaint.
Okay.
In fact, it is a documentation of my journey into the test world of Alpha 3.17, the latest patch for Star Citizen.
All right, that's a good approach.
Today I wanted to look at two things in specific, both of them visual related. This is the clouds around Hurston, as well as the river added to the world of Microtech. The new clouds then are rather beautiful, and we saw these the first time back in Crusader in a previous patch. They've now been added to the world of Hurston. Specifically, you can see them very nicely around Lorville. Unfortunately, I didn't really get to see too much in the way of that. We get a brief glimpse right here. My plan and intent was to arrive back later on and check them out again, but yeah, I haven't been able to get in with a fully functional ship. However, all that said, if you do want to check out the clouds and you're not logging into Star Citizen or can't, then do check out this clip from Reddit. The full link to the Reddit thread is linked in the video description. As you can see...
Dude, they just hit different on Hurston. I don't think any planet looks this good in terms of the clouds than Hurston does.
At least truly stunning. At least that is when you can get in there and get it working. Moving on then, rivers. Now this is a very interesting subject. Rivers of course bring a load of nice graphical visual touches to the worlds of Star Citizen.
I haven't seen it yet.
If and when they'll be added to other worlds or more locations. Right now it's just one location, one single river added to the world of Microtech. It's around 436 kilometers away from the city, the town of New Babbage. Now, the only real way to get access to this river is to fly a ship there, unless you're planning on walking 436 kilometers. Yeah, to do that, you can travel from pretty much any planet in the star system and quantum drive yourself, quantum travel to the location. It's going to take a bit of while, and you're going to have to arrive at the specific coordinates. There is a route to do that. That's listed on the screen right here, so thank you to the Spectrum thread for creating that. There's also another far simpler way of getting there. Simply take off from New Babbage and head in the direction at 205 degrees for 436 kilometers. Now the problem here is that you will need to get yourself a ship to do this. This took a very long time, many attempts, kept failing primarily for two specific reasons. Firstly, elevators have a trouble with working on the test server right now. Often they just simply do not arrive. Now when the servers did work, when the elevators rather did work, there was another problem, and this was with the delivery of ships. As you saw, that ship was delivered to Hangar 10, so the console said. However, when we arrive at Hangar 10, you can see there is no ship available here at all. And this, despite many attempts, many times logging off, logging on to different regions and trying again. Sometimes I would track the location of the ship, at which point you can see here. Yes, the system seems to think it's there, whether that's the server or the client thinks the ship is there, but no, it's not, so completely, totally unusable. In fact, in many dozens of attempts, only one single ship arrived for me, and that was the one that we see right here, the Constellation.
Okay.
Just a quick side point here, the Constellation still remains one of my favourite looking ships in Star Citizen. Anyway, straight out of New Babbage, on a heading of 205 degrees, I was to travel for 436
kilometers. Ant was here for me, now he's here.
Now at this point I had two choices. One was to fly up to a high altitude and try and get a bit of speed up, and then descend down at hopefully at the correct location. But the alternative was to keep a lower altitude. I went with this one because I felt it much easier to stick with that heading of 205 degrees.
Except it takes too long.
Now, it took quite a while, half a tank worth of hydrogen fuel to fly at that distance, and as perhaps it should have been expected, just got within range of the river, very, very close. Possibly you can see it just here in the very distance, not quite sure. And then we get this message. Absolute failure. Now, I know I'm not the only one to suffer from these issues. I've asked around on the test servers. A lot of people having the same problems. Looking at the Spectrum forums as well, a lot of people having the same issues there. Now, clearly, a few people have made it to the rivers. You can see, or the river rather, the single river. You can see a clip of that right here, as well as a few screenshots from various different locations.
Oh, that looks good.
The internet. But all in all, very, very difficult. Quite disappointed, in fact, that I wasn't able to make it. But, you know, that said, can't complain too much. CIG did say that this patch wasn't for the faint of heart. Now, this is a particularly interesting point that I do just briefly want to take a look at and address. Let's take a look at CIG's
Obsidian's got more
here.
patience than I do.
We want to note that
I barely logged into the game. I barely logged into the game because I just don't have the energy anymore.
the build we're rolling out is
I'll just
quite
wait.
unstable and suffers from a variety of performance-related issues. We're going to put this one out regardless in an effort to capture, monitor needed data. In short, this build will not be for the faint of heart. We're also going to refrain from opening the PTU feedback threads for this build, specifically because the feedback on this build would not be as valuable as something more stable. But all that said, for those still interested in jumping into the fray, it is very much appreciated. Our engineers in the UK will be monitoring closely once we open up to Wave 1, so your participation directly helps us resolve issues holding a 3.17 back from hitting the live servers.
All right, well, I mean, that makes sense. It's been 4 or 5 days since we've gotten a patch, and I think that's a pretty good reason why, I would guess, is that I would imagine, like, back-end engineering isn't exactly the easiest thing to do. Finding where all these crashes and issues are coming from, not the easiest thing to do. And then having to make a fix on top of that is probably going to take a little while. Also, when did they drop the patch? It was, like, a Thursday night, right? So you end up putting a patch out on a weekend where it's not as easy to put out more builds. So here we are.
So at this point,
Suffering.
we don't know just how long this is going to be on the PTU and how long it's going to take before it arrives on the live servers. It could be a week, it could be a month, we really don't know. But all that said, the point really is here that CIG are well aware that this patch wasn't going to be stable at all and was going to suffer from quite a few problems. The most interesting point to me here, though, is the lack of opening up feedback threads. CIG clearly don't want feedback on this build, so yeah, what could that be about? Well, clearly they just want to gather data. Obviously,
You can't provide feedback on something you can't experience, dude. That's why.
the build is a complete mess, very, very unstable, a lot of disconnects here. So I can only guess that CIG were only able to go so far with testing this internally and needed a bit of a public release here to get the needed data to collect that together and well, try and issue some fixes. It's been 5 days then since the patch arrived on the test servers. In that time, it hasn't really dramatically improved. Well, at least not beyond the ability to log in. Initially, it was impossible to log right in. At another point, the launchers wouldn't work. CIG did resolve both of those issues, but still a lot of problems. At any rate, very much looking forward to getting close to the river at some point in the future when things are settled down a bit. And of course, if you're interested in hearing a bit more about Star Citizen's patch 3.17 and some of its other features, then do check out the thread linked in the video description where you can find out all the details of everything that this patch contains. At any rate, that brings us to the end of this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.
Thank you, Obsidian. Yeah, man, I think there's I don't know. I just think looking at the 3.17 PTU, unless you're there for straight bug fixing and you know, writing up whatever they're called, IC reports, it's just one of those where it's like, yep, take it easy for a little bit. The grunts, the bug fixing grunts will do their jobs, and hopefully it'll be a better experience by midweek. And yeah, fingers crossed there. By the weekend, we might have a more playable experience. I don't know if it'll be 315, 316 playable, but at least a more playable experience, and that's our hope. That's for sure. So, as always, Ant, thank you very much.